Is this working? Okay. I don't know. Hi. Technology. Done. Let's see. I think it's going. Okay. Let's try it. This thing is very warm on me. Okay. Hello. I am Nectaria, the owner of Sophistication, and I need to make embeds. Lots of embeds. And so we'll just see how many I can get through. I have not set anything up yet. And let's get going. Okay. Embeds, if you're new to bath bomb making, are concentrated color, like mini bath bombs that are have like some concentrated color in them. I use water soluble dyes. And you put them inside the bath bomb as you're making your bath bomb so that when the bath bomb is being used, these fun colors start to come out of it. So, hey, I think that's Genesis who's here. Hello. So I have a few different ways. Oops, it would help if I just make a better sound. Hopefully. Okay, so let's just get started while I chat. I usually mix with my hands when I make embeds. When I make bath bombs, I usually use my mixer, but I just usually make smaller batches when I'm making embeds. So that's just kind of what I do. And I think I did a previous video, not sure, where I bloomed baking soda. And so I use I need yellow. So, and I know I have a lot of this. So I'm going to get started with yellows. The recipe, the formula that I use is a formula that is, I don't know, it's from Bath Fizz and Foam, but it's from their Patreon group, which I think is that formula that I use, I think is kind of a tweaking of what is in the Bath Bomb Revolution book by Robin French Smith. And Robin French Smith is one of the owners of Bath Fizz and Foam. So I think I'm going to do a large batch of this because I use yellow a lot and I have a lot of bloomed baking soda. Now, when you bloom baking soda, hold on. I can't like watch this and talk at the same time. When you bloom baking soda, you're basically adding your what's the word? Oh my gosh, my brain is gone. You are putting dye into water to get it, just not dispersed. To like melt it into the water. That's not the right word. Oh my gosh, no wonder. It's 73 degrees in here. No wonder I'm so hot. I'll figure out the word later. Anyway, so you'll get all these clumps in your baking soda. This is literally just baking soda that has been dried. Dispersed? Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Anyway, so I don't want all these clumps when I'm making my embeds, so I am just putting this all through the sieve so that my baking soda is nice and non-clumpy. I put most of the other things through the sieve as well so that I don't have other clumps that I'm introducing into it. But the baking soda, it's very important to do that because I added all that water, so that clumped it up. Okay, next I'll add my cream of tartar, which helps the bath bombs harden. It's a hardener. It also is a bit acidic. So kind of helps like that reaction a tiny bit, but not as much as citric acid. And then next I will add my SLSA, which I should be wearing a face mask for this, but I broke mine the other day and I haven't pulled the other ones out. So goodbye, lungs. It was nice knowing you. But this I do not put through a sieve because SLSA is lighter than air. That's why it's also very, it'll get in your lungs really easily. And so I don't want to like agitate it much. So I actually just put that in there, and now I'm going to like cover it up with my baking soda, which is heavier. So that'll kind of help hopefully keep it from poofing up into the air. Poof is a very scientific term. Not really. Okay. And then just getting that all mixed in a bit. Okay, then I'm going to add, so a standard embed formula is just baking soda and citric acid. I like to add more so that they're a little harder. They're a little more, I would call them a little sturdier. So that's why I put the cream of tartar. The SLSA will help to make it slow down a little bit and be a little more foamy. So if you want your embeds to just be like really fast and really fizzy and not any foam, then you would want to put the SLSA in. Okay. Let's see. Next, I'm going to do my oil. And because I use avocado oil in my bath bomb recipe, I use avocado oil in my embed recipe. That way my label doesn't have to be, I don't have to worry about changing it. I feel like most embed formulas I've seen don't necessarily have oil. But I like having oil in my embed formula because it's a way to help the mix kind of be wet enough to be able to form without it activating it. So I like to have that. So I'm just going to get all this mixed in, and then I'm going to add my citric acid. So the other thing that some people like to do is, instead of forming like embed pieces, like, which is what I'm doing, they will just make what we call embed dust, what I call embed dust. I think everybody calls it that, that they can just kind of spoon into the bath bomb when they're using it. And I will end up with some embed dust, and over time, because I don't like make sure these are in some airtight packaging and stuff. So they, like I have some embeds that become dust over time. So I do end up with some embed dust, but I prefer to have my embeds in a solid form that I can manually like put places and manipulate. Just because that's the way I like to add them into my mix. I feel like I have more control. And with that, my embeds don't fizz out as quickly. So I want the show to last a little longer in the tub. So I like to have it be a compacted piece that will slowly kind of, fizz and foam out, as opposed to just a powder that's going to come out and be really quick. Genesis says, I think it also makes the mix not dry out as fast. I think she's talking about the oil. In Colorado, the humidity is really low, and if I don't use oil in my recipe, they crumble faster. I 100% agree. I will say my humidity today is quite high for me. It's at 46%, which is normally, like in the winter, I'm at around the 10% mark. Anyway, so I prefer having embeds that are, like solid pieces that I can manipulate, both because I have a little more control of it, but also so that I'm less risky of having the dry embed mix, because this will dry out. That's when I'll use it in bath bombs. If I have it on powder, it'll go in a larger surface area, and then I have less chance of my wet bath bomb mix to stick together because the embed mix is blocking it from sticking. Anyway, let me add my citric acid. So the other thing to do the dust, which again, it's I probably wouldn't add the cream of tartar if I was doing that. And frankly, it's a little too much. And you really don't need the binder that we're about to do next. So you'd basically kind of be done after you mix all this together. You'd put it aside and be done. And maybe then you also wouldn't need the oil. I don't know. I've never done it to make it, so I'm not 100% sure. Citric acid's another one that will make me sneeze because it'll pop up. Excuse me. By the way, I went live yesterday in my little advisory group on Facebook. And I don't get many people who walk into my shop. I'm at the back of my shop right now. Like, I'm in a little plaza where like people come here for very specific reasons. And so it's not normal for like, I don't like on a day-to-day basis, I don't get people walking in. But during my live yesterday, 2 different like customers came in while I was like doing the live. I'm like, of course, Murphy's Law. So if somebody pops in here, I won't pause the live, but I'll be going over to service them. Anyway, so if I were just making bath bomb dust, this would kind of be the end of it. Like, I'd get all this mixed together and I'd pour it onto a tray and I'd be done. But again, I don't like that. I like pieces. Now I have technically 3 embed molds available on my site. One is, I guess like a 3-piece mold, and I could not find my version of it because I don't really use that one anymore. And I searched my shop briefly for about 10 minutes. But I have a way to order things, and then I get busy and I stop ordering them in that way. So I need to like take a day and just reorganize the shop. But anyway, but I might be closing down my shop. So I'm like, do I take the time to do that? I don't know. So I haven't done that. Anyway, so I cannot demonstrate that one, but in my Facebook group a few years ago, I went live using that one. And so I will find that one and post that replay so that you can get an idea of it. I guess the other one I have that is for embed bars. So I do have an embed bar mold. And so both the embed maker and the embed bar maker are available in 2 sizes. You know, I planned to do this live at one point a while back, and so I pulled all those things out. And then what I did is I bet you I put them in a place where I would easily remember. I would probably put it in a place where I was like, this makes sense to put it here since I didn't do the live. And now I don't remember what made sense at that time. Wait, there's one drawer I didn't check. Let me check that drawer. Or one set of drawers. Oh. Okay, this is the embed bar, not the actual embed maker. I was close. Is there another? Is it in this drawer? I don't think so. I wouldn't have put it down there. And I don't put it up there. Okay, these are the embed bar makers. And this is the small, this is the large. But what I did do with my embed bar makers, I think I was the first one to do this. I don't know. But I put grid lines. Oh, I'll show you here. I put grid lines on the mold because you're going to have to cut these. And so originally I did these small ones, and then I also have it on the bottom that are a little bit bigger so that you kind of have this guide to cut the embed bars. And originally when I first started making bath bomb molds, people were using soap molds to make embed bars. And so I originally designed this one based on the soap mold that I had. And that's when I put those grid lines. And then, of course, I made the smaller version. And now I think a lot of other makers also have the grid lines so that you have like a guide to cut. Okay, so this mix, I will say Embed mix feels a bit different than bath bomb mix. I don't know how to describe it. So it's different. I feel like it dies a little bit quickly, although that's why I also like to do the oil, because that helps it not die as quickly. But I got to try and move quickly. Now, I will say, let me get a tray. And I'm going to use a big tray for this one because I like a lot of the yellow. So lately I've been using my gumdrop mold to make embeds. And I'll show you that in a moment. But this is actually bigger than the gumdrop mold that I have available on the site. And I've been thinking about offering that. I just haven't listed it. But this is my easy embed maker. That's actually what is on the site. But again, I made a big one. The challenge is this has like this little thumb hole so you can hold it easily. And so I like to use this because I can make more at a time, but I haven't listed it because I am 5'9", so I don't know what size hand that makes me have, but it's a decent size hand. And I am not sure if this would be kind of feasible for people who don't have large hands like mine. And I do have another one I had originally, this is my original, I think, design that didn't have the thumb holder. And so maybe this could get listed. I don't know. So I haven't listed this, but this works the same exact way as the other easy embed maker. So let's just make some. So I just kind of take the mix and I am kind of rubbing it into the cavities. And I like a good compacted embed. And so I just keep using the palm of my hand. This is why I don't really feel like I need the thumb holder, because this is how I use it. Anyway, so I want to make sure it's as compacted as possible. So I'm using my hands to really push it in, push it in, push it in. And my thumbs, I guess, too. And I want to make sure the product is mounded on the top of this. So you can kind of see how it's mounded. And then hopefully this fully dried out since I washed it this morning. Anyway, then this is when I use this little thing. I'm going to scrape off the top of this. Okay. So, okay, I got a nice scrape. And then I'm going to unmold this onto my tray. So I'm going to just flip it. I want to make sure you can see it. Yep. And I may tap this a bit. And then I should be able to just lift it. And they should fall out. If they don't fall out, what I'm going to do is just tap the side a tiny bit. And they're all falling out. I'm just lifted like the teensiest bit. And there's those embeds, right? So I'm just going to do that like several more times. And I'll use the gumdrop one on a different color. So I just want to go fast with this because, again, my embed mix is going to die. So I'm going to go as fast as possible. I developed this easy embed mold based on a request and suggestion from a customer of mine, Ness, in Australia. So she had some like it was hard for her to use the embed maker that I had before and that I cannot find and cannot show you. And so she had this idea for this kind that was like, had the thumb hole to hold it more easily, things like that, right? So, and a lot of people find this one easier to use than the other one. I actually do also have, I know I have a TikTok with the other one. and kind of some tips and tricks on it. But it is at points like hard to like press certain parts down. And she, I think, uses the mold a little bit differently. I do actually like to tap beforehand. As the mix starts to dry out a bit, that'll make them crumble a bit. So I could do this in the beginning, but not all the time. And then what I like to do when I flip it onto my tray is I kind of hold my tray a little bit, because when I flip it, it's going to make the tray shake a bit. And by me kind of holding it, it kind of gets rid of some of that vibration. So that's just something I like to do. Anyway, so she, I'm sure, uses this a bit differently, and other people may use it a bit differently. This is just kind of how I use it. So I'm just going to make some more. This is going to be quite boring with this kind of same exact thing over and over. You know, part of the reason I haven't listed this is that size issue. Oh, you know what? Now maybe what I'll do is I will see if I can take this video and make a short out of it so that I can include it in the listing. And that way, if people are like unsure of which size they want, they can see it kind of in action and make a decision. Maybe that. So, yeah, so I would say that with several of these molds, like, you may try different things and be like, that doesn't work for me. Let me try this other thing. And that could work perfectly fine. Like, there's no, like, this is the only way to use these molds. If somebody tells you that, don't listen to them. Okay, so I'm again going to put my hand here. Oh, see, I didn't put it. I think I was too far away, and see how all those kind of jumped up. I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, I think you could. So I don't like that. So that is why I like to put my hand down for that. Okay. So, and as you see, these are like little squares that I'll be able to, once they dry, I'll put them in like a little container kind of thing. Not container, like a little, it is a container technically, but anyway, and that, so that I can pull that out and use that when I'm making bath bombs. I do need to wait for these to dry before I use them, because if I put a wet embed inside of a wet bath bomb, they could, like, the wet bath bomb could activate this embed a bit, and then this could basically make the bath bomb crack because I got wet embeds inside of the bath bomb, and that's activating and then pushes the bath bomb out. So you want to make sure that these are dry before you use them. And that's it. That's how you use this. I do think having the bigger mold, like for me personally, I like it because I do find that embed mix, oh, see, now when I'm tapping, it's breaking that mix a bit, like it's crumbling a bit, because my mix is starting to get close to dying. So I'm actually going to just not going to tap that much anymore. I'm going to flip, and I'm just going to do my tapping over here. I lift this a teensy bit, and I want to tap lightly, but I don't want to tap so much that I, again, break some. So I want it so that my embeds fall out, but that my tapping doesn't hit the embeds that fell out. Does that make sense? I hope so. And let's just do this one here. Come on. Fall out of there. Fall out. Come on. Oh my gosh. That did not want to come out. Okay. If I start to get mix that's too dead, either A, I can add a bit more oil that will help bring it together without activating. Additional, or I could be like, see this, I probably shouldn't have done such a big batch live, because I always make slower when I'm making live because I talk a lot. But I can add more oil to sort of like re-wet it without the risk of over-activating it. Or I could add more water, which is my binder. But I run the risk if I add more water that I could make the mix too wet and I could have other issues. So my first thing is usually to add more binder, but really it should be to add more oil. That should be my first move, like I did today. That's, I think, the smarter maker move is to add more oil if your mix is dying. Okay, so I don't know if this is still going. I think it is. It says I have excellent connection, so it must still be going. Good. It's just, I find embed making kind of boring. Usually on Fridays, I make freshies. Friday's a Freshie Friday day. But like I said, I was running out of embeds, and so I'm like, I literally have no yellow left. No, I think I have like 2 embeds left that are yellow. I have no pink left. I use pink a lot. I think I have like 5 purple left. Like, it is not good. So I flipped over at the top of my tray instead and then brought this over because I wanted to minimize the risk of like disturbing the embeds that have already fallen out, because they are definitely getting a little more crumbly as time goes on. I can see more like dust kind of coming out of them. And so I want to be a little more gentle with them. I might be able to get one more before I need to re-add something. So I think the hardest thing with these is making sure that you can get your mix compacted into here. I think that's kind of one of the hardest things to make sure of. I should say that I recommend using dyes in your embeds, water soluble, of course. They have a higher kind of color payout, and you don't need as much. I mean, they're more expensive to buy, but you don't need to use as much product. And so because they're embeds, it's really much more about the color coming out and having a good show. To me, dyes are the way to go with that. Lakes, you'd have to use a lot of lake to have a similar color payout. And lakes are oil soluble, so you need to make sure that you're using enough oil, which could still be, but you're using a lot of lake. But also then you need to make sure you have enough polysorbate 80, which you should be doing anyway. But it just, to me, I just feel like dyes are the way to go. I'm just going to do this over here so that maybe you can see it a little better. And I'm just like tapping and letting ones fall out. They're just falling out on their own. And then I'll move them so that I have more room where I'm working. Got a few left. There we go. And we put that back over here. And I'll do the same. I'll like on the next one, I'll do it there. So I'm just trying to get those out of the way. That's just so you can see it. So not really something you have to do normally. I'm just, as I'm mixing this, I'm kind of squeezing it in my hands to see like how does it hold together. And it's feeling a little dusty. So I'm just pouring a little bit of oil. It's not much. It's probably like a gram, maybe 2. So I'm going to see if that will hold it together. And if not, I'll add a little bit of binder. But I'm trying to see if this will last the rest of my, let me do one spray of this. It'll start coming out. There we go. But now, since I added a bit more binder, I really got to make sure that that gets all mixed in really well so that I don't get warding and things. Not that, I mean, warding doesn't really matter that much in an embed, but if you add too much water and don't get it all mixed in, you could just get it like activating, and now you've got a dud embed, right? So I don't want that either. Yeah, I think that's it for these. The Easy Embed Maker, these are the squares. There's also one that has like, I think I called them like oval sticks or something like that. So they're like thinner, they're almost like Twinkie shaped. And I find them a little bit more kind of susceptible to breaking or something like that, right? Because they're thinner, not as wide as this square, but some people had requested it because they wanted to be able to use embeds in some smaller areas of some molds. And what happens is when you're using embeds in a bath bomb, if you've got some like thin areas, you don't really want to put the bath bomb, the embed, in those areas because there's already a risk of breakage. And now wherever you put the embed, that's an area where the bath bomb mix is like, wherever the embed is, your wet bath bomb mix is not able to have as good of a bond there because the embed's in the way, right? So, if you have an area that is really thin in a mold, you want to have all of that, ideally, be your wet bath bomb mix so that it has a better chance of staying together. I could tell that this mix is really getting much more dusty. Dusty Springfield. So I'm just going to go with more binder this time and just see if I can get one more, maybe two. So anyway, so I developed that thinner one because some people wanted something thinner as opposed to like this square. I still stay away from thin parts like that of a mold, but you know, you play with it, live on, what is it? I think of Pretty Woman. I laugh at in the face of danger. Isn't that what she says? Anyway, so you can play with it, find what works for you, and you know. So anyway, okay, this is going to be my last one because the mix is getting all iffy with me anyway, and I definitely don't have enough for two of these. There is a way, actually. You know what? I'll show you another way that I would do if I'm near the end, just so it's, in case you're near the end and you don't have mix that's dying on you, I'll show you what I would do. Okay, so summer is coming tonight if you're in this hemisphere. I am like, I don't know, I'm kind of torn about seasons now because I feel like one of the reasons we're all so excited for summer is that we used to get summers off. And so now, what's the difference between summer and the rest of the year? But as somebody who lives in an area where, and grew up in an area where it gets freaking cold in the winter, where it's painful to breathe the air, I prefer summer over that. But I also don't like it when it's so hot that you don't want to do anything. Okay, if I'm at this place where I'm like, oh, I don't have enough for a full whatever, I will use an unmolding plate to kind of cover up some of the squares. Let's go with, I guess I'll go that one because I can't go the other way. I probably can do 3 rows. And I will use this to sort of like, I learned this by watching Robin from Bath Fizz and Foam. Does take a little more dexterity. But it gives me the chance possibly to make a few more without super like it being like super complex to make. I might be able to go one more row, but we'll see, because I got to get this all compacted in. There we go. Come on, come on, come on. There. And that just gives me like a nice like thing to keep like excess mix from going into the others and creating like half things, which will fall apart as I demold it. Let's try one more row. I might be able to get one more row out of this. And the rest will just be, like, remember I said in the beginning, like I will have some that will just be embed dust. And even though I don't really like to use embed dust, I will use it because I don't want to waste it. Okay, let's go, I guess, one more. Okay, let's see what we can get. Oopa! Well, we'll see what we do for that. Oh, my goodness. I guess now, since it's a little too ungainly for me for that, and I know I can get enough in here for this. Okay, so that's going to be it for me. I am going to get that off. This will fall out right in here. And last one. Let me move these out of the way. And let's just flip it. And then I can do some tapping. Come on. There we go. So I was tapping so hard that I hit some. So some of them broke, but that's okay. I can still use it. If I am making multiple embeds like I am today, then I will just start with a lighter color. But let me put this away. And then I'm going to get another tray. And this time I am going to make pink because I know I absolutely need that. And I'll do that with the gumdrop mold. And then I will end the live and make more. But it's going to be more of the same. So why bother continuing with the live? Okay, so this is the only amount of bloomed pink that I have. So it won't be as big of a batch, but that's probably better. Like, honestly, when you're making embeds, a smaller batch is probably better. Okay, let's see. So let's get this back on. Let's see how much baking soda I have to see how much I can make. I'm hoping that I have 300 grams in here, but I don't know if I do. If not, then I'll go with 150. Let's see. Do I have 300? So stinking close, 280. So that's about just under 10% less. So I'll have to do math in my head. It's actually like, what is that, 8% less? But I'm going to assume, I'm going to go with like as if it's 10% less. So let's do cream of tartar in my math in my head. This is going to be interesting. Honestly, when I'm at these low numbers anyway, like it could be that I'm adding like, you know, like this scale moves by 1. So I could have added 8. I could have added 9.5. I could have, you know, whatever. Oh, that looks so good. That pink with the white. Love it. Okay, and then let's add SLSA. This barely has any difference though, so like it's just taking off a percentage of it. I shouldn't have breathed that in. Excuse me. Let's cover that up. Okay, now let's add our liquid oil. What I will do is I will link the I think there's really good resources on making embeds in the Bath Bomb Revolution book by Robin French Smith. So that is what I will link. You can get it on Amazon. So in the description, I will link both the US and Canada Amazon stores to that book. If you live elsewhere in the world, you can just search for it on your Amazon. I think there's a Kindle version too. I like print, so I got the print version. And some of these coloring, no, these ones are not. Robin now sells lake colorants through her website, Scandalous Soap Company. So, but one of the things I really like about the Bath Bomb Revolution book is when I first started making and was making embeds, let me go wash my hands because I don't like all this pink when I'm pulling my citric acid. So 1 second. Okay. So one of the things that I found tough to like figure out when I started making was how much like dye to put in for my embeds. And now I don't know if I know lakes, like depending on where you get them from, some lakes are stronger than others. Hold on, let me get my citric acid. Sorry, I got to do the math in my head too at the same time. One of the things that is included in the book, in Bath Bomb Revolution, is that Robin includes like weights of how much, like she's like, if you want to make orange embeds, you know, you can mix red 28, which is the pink dye, with yellow 5, which is the yellow dye, not yellow 6. And she will give amounts. Like she'll be like, I don't know what it is. I'm going to make it up. Like for every 200 grams of baking soda, put 0.5, you know, grams of red 28 with 1 gram of yellow 5. I don't know. Those are not, don't quote me on that. That's not the right numbers. I don't know. Could be. I don't know. And so I just found it really helpful to have that, even if just as a starting point, even if I wanted to adjust it as I went, because some dyes are stronger than others. So like yellow 5 is not as strong. So you might need more yellow 5 than, you know, like when you're making an orange, you might need more yellow 5 than red 28. And so I found that super helpful. That's one of my favorite things in that book. There's several things that I love, but okay. If you are watching the replay, by the way, there have not been any other comments that I've seen. So like, I know even though I set things up so that the chat should be on the replay, but it doesn't, I already did that. But I need to get a tray. That's what I need. Is this the tray I just washed? No. I want to make sure it's not wet. So, anyway, so I just found that really helpful. Okay, let's add our binder. It will start to activate when you add your binder, and that's okay. Just mix it in. It's fine. Don't worry. Okay. So, by the way, if you make freshies, I got something exciting coming. Right now, I'm very focused on trying to get subscription boxes completed and done and out. And then I can get back to freshies because there is something that I have not seen in the freshie world that I am working on. And I'm so excited about it. But I wanted to make sure I have it like fully ready to launch. So that's why it hasn't come out yet. I've been working on it for like, I don't know, at least a month, I feel like. And it's so hard not to like just release it. But it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I feel it. Rain. Feel it on my fingertips. Hear it on the window pane. Your love's coming down like rain. Okay, that's feeling good. Okay, so this time, let's use the gumdrop mold, which was not intended to be an embed mold, but I like it for embeds. And there's kind of two different ways you could use it. One is, again, this is a bigger mold. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25. I think what's out there right now makes 15 at a time. I don't know. Maybe I did list this one. But I like the other one. I'm going to mix in, use the heel of my hand to get it fully in there and like really compact it in. I do turn it around a bit so that like if I am like, maybe I'm weaker on this end. So then when I turn it, I'm getting that end again, right? So I'm making sure I get it all. Then I will take my scraper. Wish I got this Dollarama, by the way. I love it. I know you can use like my unmolding plate, but I prefer this metal one. And this could be it. Okay. Or you could, if you're like, did this get compacted enough? I can line this up and like press that down with all my might, all my weight. And you can see that it pressed it in a little bit more than what I originally did. So I'm just going to add a bit more on top. And that should be more than enough. But then I know I'm like really getting it compacted in. That compactor piece is separate. Like it's not, it's an add-on to the product. You don't have to get it. And frankly, you don't need it for this. It's just what I do since I have it. Then I like to tap my molds before I unmold them on my hybrids. This is essentially a hybrid. And then I'm going to just flip it. First one, I really get that anger out. And then I should be able to just lift it. I got a couple that didn't come out. So I'll just tap those so that they fall out. I'm just lifting it a bit from my tray. And there's my gumdrops. And I can use those as embeds. So I'm just going to make the rest of those. I'm not going to use the compactor piece. Like it's not really needed. So maybe I will. Let's see. I don't know why my computer is beeping at me. Okay, so, and again, I'm just going to let these dry, these embeds dry. so that I can use them when I make bath bombs. I do like that this is a little more secure than the Easy Embed Maker, so I feel a little better about tapping it, although some of these are already starting to fall out. So like that one just came out. I didn't have to tap it again. So this is all about speed when you're making embeds. So the faster you can make them, the better, because this mix, it don't like to stay alive. It wants to die. By the way, I never watched Stranger Things. It's kind of funny because my friend Maury had come to visit me a few years ago. She's not a big TV watcher. Like, she watches TV when she goes to bed. But other than that, like, she does a lot of stuff. She's always active, so she's not really watching TV a ton. But when she goes to bed, she does. Which, by the way, okay, I like to watch TV when I'm going to sleep. It helps me, like, helps my mind just, like, kind of turn off. But, like, I watch things that are, like, they have to be interesting enough that I'll, like, pay attention and not, think about a million of the things that I got to do. This is starting to go now, so I'm going to have to start flipping and tapping after I flip now. Let's move this. Hopefully you can see. So, oops, one of those just totally fell apart. So this is definitely, like, this mix is not staying together. So I'm going to add a little bit of both so it died on me. I'm going to add some oil and I'm going to add some more binder. Some colors I find dye faster than others. So like that yellow lasted for a while, but as you can see, this red is dead, or pink. Anyway, so I watch things like, I watched The Golden Girls. I watched Cheers, like, because it has to be something like, if I'm not watching TV, like, my brain is just thinking of like the millions of things I have to get done. And so I can't, like, relax enough to fall asleep. So I will put that on, or like, I'll go on YouTube and I'll put different, like, maker people on, or my church is also on YouTube. So I'll, like, find a replay and I'll put that on. Anyway, so it has to be something that, like, is interesting enough that I don't think about all the things I should be doing. Okay, this mix is really dead. So let's see if I can just, whatever, add a lot of binder and get it somehow to work. That's weird. Did I put the citric acid in? I did. Anyway, so my friend Maury puts, like, wow, it is dead. I don't want dead. I'm going to go crazy. And I'm going to add oil next. So anyway, so she puts, like, unsolved mysteries kind of thing, Dateline mystery. And I'm like, I would not be able to fall asleep because I'm scared, because I want to know who did it. Like, what happened? And she's like, oh, no, that's how I fall asleep. And I'm like, I don't know how you do that, girl. Anyway, do you do that? Do you watch TV or listen to podcasts or something to fall asleep, or you need complete silence? My husband can't take it. He needs complete silence. And then I have other friends who, like, need a noise, white noise machine. So, but this is still kind of dead. It's interesting. It is getting really light pink. So I think I screwed it up majorly. Like, do you see how light that is? I think this has become bath dust and bed dust, because I don't think I can save it. I think it's weird that it's like this light pink. I'm going to have to test. Dried. That is the weirdest thing. I've never seen this before. Oh my gosh. You'll be able to see the difference. Look at this. Look at the difference in color. Isn't that amazing? I don't know. That is weird. I've never seen that before. Anywho, I feel like it's like, I don't know. So this is what I'm going to do to try and make this a little faster. Is I'm going to put it in like that. I'm going to use the compactor piece instead of my palms to do the initial, the initial compacting. And then I will finish off once more. Let's see what happens. I don't know. This is weird. This is the first. And of course, it happens while I'm live. So that I don't know what happened. But maybe this has happened to you. Anyway, back to my story. So, Maury was visiting me once, and I have a TV in the guest bedroom. And at that time, I had Netflix, and so she put Stranger Things on. And basically, she would stay up all night watching Stranger Things. And I had never seen it, and I was just like, whatever. Then my friend Susan came to visit me a month or so ago. And she was like, oh my gosh, you have to watch Stranger Things. Now, the Maury thing happened like, I want to say probably 3 years ago. Maybe it was 2, but I feel like it was 3 years ago. Anyway, so I started watching Stranger Things in the last month. And now I've watched all 4 seasons. But that's one where like I would put it on at night before going to bed, but then I'd have to change it to like YouTube or something like that, because I couldn't fall asleep watching it. Like I couldn't, because I got to find out what happens. I can't miss anything. You know? You know what I mean? This is so weird. So stinking weird. Never seen such a thing. Like I've had my embeds kind of lightening color as they dry. But this is a first. I know I'm harping on it a lot, but I'm just like completely, I am shook. Shook, I tell ya, shook. Okay, let's get this here. Okay, doing the partial is not working because things aren't sticking together like the way they're supposed to. So when I do the partial, like the bottom just falls off. So this last one, I'm just lightly going over, not pressing hard so that my mix falls in. Then now I'll do a press hard. But still, like this is basically done. So I said earlier that I am looking forward to summer, I think. Oh, I was saying I don't know how I feel about it. I love to swim, but like don't have a pool. So what good is summer? But now my sister-in-law moved back to town. She got a house with a pool. So I'll finally have access to a pool this summer. So maybe I'll be excited about the summer. But now I just want November to come because that's when the next Stranger Things comes out. So I'm so torn. Okay. This is going to be a lot of embed dust. Okay. And then the rest, because this is dead, I'm just going to put the rest over here. And again, like I'm not going to, I'm going to test that when it's all dried. I'm going to put that in some water and make sure it fizzes and foams. And as long as it does, but isn't that water was added in. Anyway, that is going to be it for today. I will find the live that I did when I used the embed maker, my like classic embed maker. That's a 3-piece. So I will find that and I will link it or tag it. I don't know how all that works, but I'll get it uploaded and whatever. And yeah, check the link check the description for whatever else. Subscribe and like this video. you know, all the things. Do all the things. I appreciate it. And let me find my mouse and end this live. So thank you for joining me and have a fabulous weekend. Happy summer.